The moment Gao Tu discovered he was pregnant, the world seemed to tilt beneath him. His chest tightened. His breaths came in shallow, uneven gasps, and for a heartbeat, he could barely recognize the space around him. The bright, sterile lights of the clinic felt blinding. The soft hum of medical machines sounded distant, almost irrelevant, as his mind went completely blank. He wanted to scream. He wanted to run. He wanted to shake the very universe that had delivered this impossible truth to him. But most of all, he felt fear, a deep, gnawing fear that clawed at his chest and made his hands tremble. The doctor, an older Omega with years of experience in pheromone-related disorders, stood across from him, his expression grave. The lines on his face were carved by decades of dealing with pain, suffering, and hopeless situations. "Mr. Gao," he said slowly, carefully, "as a patient with a pheromone disorder, it is impossible for you to give birth alone. Without the cooperation of a partner, it is far too dangerous. You cannot do this alone." Gao Tu's throat tightened. He nodded numbly, acknowledging the truth in the doctor's words. Yet even as he accepted the reality, he felt a fierce, stubborn spark of resistance flare within him. He would not a life growing inside him to be discarded, no matter the consequences. The doctor's eyes softened, though regret and worry lingered in their depths. "Out of responsibility for your health and your life," he continued, "I strongly advise you to terminate the pregnancy immediately. Carrying a child under your condition is extremely risky. It could be fatal." Gao Tu's lips parted, but no words emerged at first. His heart thudded painfully in his chest as he finally whispered, Is there no other way?" The doctor sighed, a sound heavy with years of sorrow and frustration. "There are experimental methods, yes.
Artificial soothing pheromones or perhaps pheromones from another alpha with a higher matching degree. But in practice,
it is highly impractical. Even if theoretically possible, it could fail at any moment. Your life would be at risk every single day." Gao Tu's hands clenched into fists, his nails digging into his palms. Vomiting, loss of appetite, insomnia, he had endured all of it for days. His body had begun to betray him, becoming thinner, frailer, almost unrecognizable. Even casual observers, even passing doctors, would find it hard to bear the sight of him. Yet, in spite of this, his mind refused to submit to despair. The older doctor's expression hardened, frustration and anger mingling in his features. "That alpha you like, he is such a scumbag," he muttered, his voice sharp, almost bitter. Gao Tu shook his head quickly, lowering his gaze. "He's not," he mumbled, almost inaudibly, as a wave of shame and self-reproach washed over him. It's my own fault." The doctor's eyes widened, and he slammed the medical record card onto the table. "What is wrong with you?" he demanded, his voice rising. "No matter how many problems you have, you cannot get pregnant alone. And that scum who despises omegas, who cannot even tolerate your natural scent, does he have no responsibility at all?" Gao Tu did not answer. He refused to dwell on blame. It was a pointless exercise now. The child existed, and instead of wasting time on anger or recrimination, he needed to focus on solutions, practical, real solutions that could protect the life inside him. "I know," he said quietly, his voice shaking, "that you're trying to protect me, doctor. I understand that. But..." His throat tightened as the words spilled out, fragile and trembling. I really want this child. No matter what happens, I can't give it up." A deep silence filled the room. Even the doctor seemed momentarily stunned by Gao Tu's declaration. There was vulnerability in his eyes, raw and unshielded, a kind of quiet courage that only came from facing impossible odds. Meanwhile, miles away, Shen Wenlang's phone buzzed insistently. His voice, as cold and sharp as ever, pierced the line. "Gao Tu ran away," he muttered in response to Hua Yang's concerned inquiry. Hua Yang's brow furrowed. "Didn't Secretary Gao run away a long time ago?" he asked, a note of disbelief in his voice. Shen Wenling's jaw tightened, his expression hardening into its usual icy mask. This time, "It's different," he said, his words deliberate, almost frozen. For Shen Wenlang, the bigger the matter, the colder he became. His emotions did not flow freely.
They were measured, controlled, and often terrifying in their detachment.
Hua Yong's mind drifted back to the first time he met Shen Wenlang. The scene was burned into memory. Shen's parents on the verge of a violent, chaotic breakup, a world of betrayal and cruelty. The male Omega father, desperate and twisted, had attempted to use pheromones to conceive a child with an alpha forcibly. It escalated into tragedy, a shooting, blood, and death. Brain matter and crimson splatters across a body that had once been a man, alive and breathing. Shen Wenlang's Omega father had been imprisoned by the Alpha Patriarch, only to vanish mysteriously 3 days later. The prison held silence and a deadly emptiness where the Omega had once been, leaving behind nothing but a pool of blood and questions that would never be answered. At the funeral, a young Shen Wenlang stood motionless, silent, eyes hard and unflinching. Before leaving, he uttered one chilling sentence. "This is good." He finally ended his life without dignity.
From that moment, Shen Wenlang's hatred for Omegas and children deepened, almost physically.
A simple scent of an Omega could make him gag. Seeing children, witnessing vulnerability, stirred a primal revulsion that he could barely control. It was a defense, forged in trauma, and hardened into cold, unwavering detachment. Now on the phone with Hua Yong, that same icy tone filled his words. Gao Tu's father said that Gao Tu is pregnant, he stated, each word deliberate, cold. "And the child is mine." When Gao Ming entered the conversation, Shen Wenlang's voice became even colder. Gao Ming said, "If I want Gao Tu to abort the baby, I have to give him 10 million. 10 million. Hua Yong's jaw dropped, and he put down his spoon, disbelief etched on his face. "That Gao Ming has no concept of money at all," he said, voice dripping with disdain. "He has such a powerful bargaining chip in his hands."
And he wants 10 million? He should ask for at least 100 million. 10 million.
"It's an insult. Hua Yong." Shen Wenlang's voice cracked with hysteria. "This is not the time for jokes." Hua Yong raised a hand in mock surrender.
Oh, okay.
"But, do you agree?" he asked calmly, almost teasingly. Shen Wenlang's composure crumbled. "Agree? Agree to what?"
To give him 10 million and let Gao Tu abort my child? His voice trembled with frustration, disbelief, and a deep, bitter sense of loss. "Yes," Hua Yong said, lightly. "Don't you hate Omegas and children even more?"
"Didn't you take a photo of that Omega at dinner that day?" he demanded. "Well, I sent it to you a long time ago," Hua Yong replied calmly. Impatience flared, and Shen Wenlang frantically opened WeChat. He scrolled through the chat history, searching for the photo, but it had expired. It could not be buffered. "Send it again," he barked. Shen Wenlang exploded. "You're the one having a cerebral hemorrhage." His words were sharp, dangerous, like fire sparking across dry kindling. "Hua Yong, you knew all along. You knew Gao Tu was an Omega. That's why you said those nonsense things about him running away when he saw me."
And that was Gao Tu's heartbreaking yet courageous journey. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hit the bell icon so you never miss the next chapter. And share your thoughts below. What would you do in Gao Tu's place?